There exists within your person's heart a longing so profound that it colors every thought they have of you. More than anything else in this world, they wish to become the source of genuine happiness that illuminates your face with that beautiful smile they cherish so deeply. Their greatest aspiration is to transform into that irreplaceable presence in your life, the one whose very existence brings you an overwhelming sense of safety and belonging. They dream of being the sanctuary where your heart can rest without walls, without pretense, without the need to guard itself against potential pain. In the quiet moments of reflection, they imagine becoming the person you trust so completely that sharing your innermost world becomes as natural as breathing. They want to be the keeper of your thoughts, both the light-hearted and the heavy ones. They long to hold space for your fears, understanding that vulnerability is the highest form of trust you could offer. Your dreams, whether they seem impossible or within reach, they want to nurture them as if they were their own. And your victories, no matter how small they might seem to the outside world, they want to celebrate them with the enthusiasm of someone who understands exactly how much effort and courage those triumphs required. What stirs most powerfully within their heart is the desire to offer you something that has become increasingly rare in this complicated world, a love that remains steady when everything else shifts, reliable when chaos threatens to overwhelm, and unconditional in a way that asks nothing in return except the privilege of loving you. This is not a love built on conditions or contingencies. It is a love that exists simply because you exist, and that is reason enough. There is something weighing heavily on their conscience, something they need to confess with complete honesty. After enduring stretches of profound pain, after surviving those hollow periods when emptiness seemed to be their only companion, after weathering the long silences that created distance between you, they have arrived at a realization that shakes them to their core. You were right. You were right all along. Everything you sensed about this connection, every intuition you followed, every feeling you expressed about the nature of what exists between you, they now understand it with a clarity that leaves no room for doubt. The bond you share transcends the ordinary patterns of human connection. It is not something fleeting that will fade with time or distance. It cannot be rationalized away by logic or explained through conventional understanding. What you have together exists on a plane that touches the soul itself, a connection that operates beyond the reach of simple definitions or easy categories. They feel this truth now with an unwavering certainty that has become the foundation of everything they believe about love. Before you entered their world and turned everything upside down in the most beautiful way imaginable, they often moved through life with a persistent feeling of displacement. Even when surrounded by crowds of people, when sitting in rooms full of laughter and conversation, they felt separated by an invisible barrier that kept them perpetually on the periphery. They were always watching life unfold rather than truly participating in its depths. To navigate through social situations and meet expectations, they learned to wear masks that helped them blend in and appear normal. But beneath those carefully constructed facades, they carried a hollow ache of loneliness that never quite went away. It was as though they were searching desperately for something they could not name, could not describe, could not even fully acknowledge until the moment you appeared and everything suddenly made sense. The day you entered their life marked a turning point so significant that they remember it as a before and after moment. The colors of the world seemed to intensify and grow richer, as if someone had adjusted the saturation of reality itself. The air felt lighter in their lungs, easier to breathe, filled with possibilities that hadn't existed before. The heaviness they had carried for so long, that weight pressing down on their chest and their spirit, began to lift gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, then with increasing momentum. Little by little, moment by moment, your presence brought about a transformation they had thought impossible. You shifted their entire perspective on what life could be. You softened the edges of pain that had seemed permanent. You replaced the emptiness that had taken up residence in their heart with a renewed sense of purpose and meaning. This is precisely why they see you not merely as someone special among many, but as a genuine blessing, an answered prayer they didn't even realize they had been whispering into the universe during their loneliest moments. As time passed and you shared more experiences together, as understanding grew between you without always needing words, they came to recognize something even more profound about what you represent in their life. If they were to search this entire world, examining every relationship and every connection, they know with absolute certainty that if there is one person they can rely on without even a shadow of doubt creeping in, it is you. You have proven your dependability to them not through grand theatrical gestures designed to impress, but through quiet consistency that speaks volumes more than any dramatic display ever could. Your care reveals itself as authentic and genuine in ways both large and small. You have shown them patience during the times when they stumbled and faltered, when they weren't at their best and didn't deserve such grace. You offered understanding during those difficult periods when they shut you out, when their own fears and insecurities made them push away the very person they needed most. And most remarkably, you gave them love during the moments when they least deserved it, when their actions warranted distance rather than affection. That kind of trust is extraordinarily rare in a world where people guard their hearts so carefully. It is precious beyond measure because it cannot be manufactured or forced. And for them, it has become unshakable, forming the bedrock upon which everything else in your relationship has been built. One of the aspects of your character that touches them most deeply, that fills them with a sense of humble gratitude, is the sheer greatness of your soul. Despite the mistakes they have made along the way, and they know there have been many, despite the moments when their words or actions caused you pain or made you question their feelings, you never allowed resentment to take root in your heart. You never permitted bitterness to poison what existed between you, even though you would have had every right to do so. Instead, you made a choice that required tremendous strength. You chose grace over grudges. You chose to see the best version of them even when they were displaying their worst qualities. You looked past their failures and focused on their potential. This act of consistent, intentional forgiveness has humbled them more profoundly than they can adequately express in words. They understand now, perhaps for the first time in their life, that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness as society sometimes portrays it. True forgiveness requires incredible strength, a courage that is born from love rather than fear, a willingness to remain vulnerable even after being hurt. From you, they have learned lessons that no book could teach and no other experience could replicate. You have been like a mirror, reflecting back to them parts of themselves they had been too frightened or too ashamed to face directly. At the same time, you have served as a guide, gently leading them toward becoming a better, more authentic version of who they truly are beneath all their defenses. You have tamed the restless, wild aspects of their nature not through force or demands or ultimatums, but through your quiet, nurturing energy that communicates more powerfully than any lecture or criticism ever could. Your very presence has this remarkable ability to calm the storms that rage inside them, to quiet the chaos and bring peace where there was once only turbulence. They comprehend now with crystal clarity that what the two of you share is not some random accident of timing or circumstance. This is not merely another passing chapter in the long book of their life story. This connection runs deep because it is rooted in something authentic and real, something that touches the sacred. It feels as though the universe conspired to bring you together, as though you were always meant to find each other across whatever distance or obstacles separated you, meant to help one another grow and evolve, meant to bring light into each other's darkness when the world felt too heavy to bear alone. The more they reflect on the journey you have traveled together, with all its peaks and valleys, its moments of perfect harmony and its periods of misunderstanding, its joyful reconciliations and its painful separations, the more convinced they become that everything unfolded exactly as it needed to. Every challenge served a purpose. Every obstacle taught a lesson. Every moment of pain prepared them for deeper appreciation of the connection you share. They want you to understand that every step forward they take now, Every decision they make, every path they choose to walk is fundamentally shaped by the lessons they have absorbed from you. They carry your influence with them constantly, embedded in the way they think through problems, reflected in the way they speak to others, visible in the way they view and interpret the world around them. You have shown them truths they had never grasped before. You taught them that vulnerability is not the weakness they always feared it was, but actually a form of courage and authenticity. You demonstrated that love is not a burden to be shouldered reluctantly, but a gift to be embraced gratefully. You proved that trust is not something dangerous to be feared and avoided, but something precious to be cherished and protected. Most importantly, they see you now for who you truly are in your entirety. Not just as the person they love with all their heart, which you certainly are, but as the soul who fundamentally changed their life in ways they never imagined possible before knowing you. You brought them peace where chaos once reigned supreme. You brought joy where emptiness had made its home. You brought hope where resignation had settled in like an unwelcome guest who would never leave. And for all of this, for every single gift you have given them simply through being yourself, they will carry gratitude in their heart forever. Even now, as they take time to reflect on everything you have meant and continue to mean to them, their heart fills with a profound mix of awe and humility that sometimes overwhelms them. They understand deeply that connections like this one do not come around often in a lifetime. Most people search their entire lives without finding what you two have discovered together. These bonds are not replaceable, not interchangeable with any other relationship, no matter how appealing it might appear on the surface. They are not disposable, not something to be discarded when challenges arise or when the initial excitement fades into something deeper and more sustainable. Because of this understanding, they want to hold on tightly to what you have built together. Not out of desperate fear of losing you, though that fear certainly exists, but out of a deep and abiding appreciation for the rare and beautiful gift they have been given in knowing you and being known by you. They want to continue building a life where you feel safe enough to be vulnerable, loved enough to flourish, and celebrated enough to know your worth every single day without question. In their eyes, shaped by everything they have learned and experienced with you, you are not just another chapter in their story, not just one person among many who have passed through their life. You are the heart of their story, the central thread that gives meaning to everything else. And they hope with everything in them that in your eyes, despite any mistakes or missteps along the way, they can be the same for you. They still remember as vividly as if it were yesterday, with perfect clarity despite the passage of time, exactly how you made them forget every painful day they had endured before you came into their world. You helped them release every struggle, every disappointment, every heartbreak that had accumulated in the years before they knew you. When the two of you were together, truly present with each other, it felt as though the oppressive weight of the entire world simply vanished into thin air. Your presence possessed this almost magical quality, an inexplicable ability to transform even the darkest, most difficult moments into something bearable, something they could survive. Even the simplest, most ordinary moments that other people might overlook entirely became beautiful and meaningful when experienced with you. It wasn't merely that you distracted them from their pain by providing a temporary escape. You actually healed them in ways they didn't even fully understand they needed healing. Because of the love you offered so freely, something fundamental inside them changed forever. You gave them a sense of wholeness they had been searching for throughout their entire life without even knowing exactly what was missing. You brought them a particular kind of contentment they had never experienced before, the type that doesn't depend on external circumstances or material things, the type that doesn't fluctuate with changing situations. This contentment came from deep within, from a place of genuine peace and acceptance. You helped them see themselves through completely different eyes, to stand taller with confidence rather than shrinking back in self-doubt, to feel secure in who they were, and to embrace their authentic self without shame or apology. You didn't merely tolerate their flaws the way someone might grudgingly accept an inconvenience. You accepted them fully and completely. More remarkably still, you made them feel as though they were special and valuable because of those imperfections, not in spite of them. That represents a rare kind of love, one that transforms a person from the inside out, reshaping their entire relationship with themselves and with the world. They know without even a shadow of doubt that they will never find anyone else like you. There is a depth to your kindness that goes beyond surface-level politeness. There is a purity to your heart that remains untainted by cynicism despite whatever disappointments life has brought your way. And there is a beauty that radiates from the very core of who you are, shining through in everything you do. You are not only loving and caring in your actions and words, but you are also genuinely selfless, possessing a spirit that seems to shine brightly even in the most mundane, ordinary moments that others might not even notice. The way you see the world through eyes of compassion, the way you treat other people with dignity and respect regardless of their status, the way you give without expecting anything in return or keeping score of your generosity, all of these qualities make you beautiful in ways that transcend physical appearances. Yes, you are absolutely stunning on the outside, and they would be lying if they claimed not to notice your external beauty. But it is the beauty residing on the inside, the beauty of your character and your soul, that leaves them in genuine awe and makes them feel humbled to know you. They need to tell you that they are deeply, profoundly sorry for all those times when their actions, their words, or their silence made you think they didn't care about you. That was never, ever the truth of what existed in their heart. In fact, the real truth is exactly the opposite. You have never been far from their thoughts, not for a single day, not even during the periods when communication broke down between you. Even when they remained silent for reasons they now recognize were foolish, even when they seemed distant or distracted by other concerns, you were there constantly in their mind and in their heart, shaping and influencing the way they see and interpret the world around them. Sometimes they catch unexpected glimpses of you in the smallest, most surprising places that catch them off guard. They see a little part of you reflected in everyone they meet, whether it's a certain type of smile that reminds them of yours, a particular laugh that echoes how you laugh, or a way of looking at the world that mirrors your perspective. And every single time this happens, every time something reminds them of you, it only intensifies how much they miss you and wish you were there beside them. It's as though the universe itself keeps deliberately reminding them of you, gently nudging them to remember what they once had the privilege of experiencing and what they so desperately wish they still had the blessing of sharing every day. There are moments, quiet moments usually, when they're alone with their thoughts, when all they want with every fiber of their being is to be close to you again, to exist in your presence without any barriers between you. They want to hold your face gently between their hands with all the tenderness they feel but struggle to express, and to look deeply into your beautiful eyes that seem to hold entire universes within them. They want to see that special sparkle, the one that tells them without words that you understand them in a way no one else ever could or ever will. They want to feel that quiet but powerful connection that exists between you, the one that doesn't require elaborate explanations because it's written plainly in the way you look at each other, in the unspoken communication that flows naturally when two souls truly recognize each other. They miss profoundly the comfort that came from knowing that in your presence they could be fully, completely themselves without filters or pretense, unguarded and unafraid of judgment, feeling safe in a way they have never felt safe with anyone else. Every single day without exception, they pray earnestly to God, asking for forgiveness for the pain they caused you, reviewing in their mind the specific moments when they failed you. They think often about the times when they let their temper control their words, when they allowed their stubbornness to create unnecessary distance, when they chose pride over vulnerability. They wish with everything in them, with an intensity that sometimes feels physically painful, that they could somehow travel back in time and take those moments back, erasing them from history. They wish desperately that they could delete the hurtful things they said in anger or frustration, the times when their words made you feel unloved or unappreciated or questioned. If they possessed the power to rewrite those painful moments, they would fill them instead with gentleness and patient understanding rather than anger or defensive pride. Please understand, and they need you to truly believe this, they never genuinely meant any of those hurtful things they said during those heated, emotional moments when neither of you was thinking clearly.